Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Paleo Art Studios. I'm Benjamin Michael Tanner, and today I'm back with a new kind of video. I'm going to be drawing creatures today, and for today's topic, I'm going to be drawing some dragons from the Hyborian Age, which is the world of Conan the Barbarian created by Robert E. Howard. I got the idea to do this from reading the audiobook from one of my personal favorite Conan stories, Red Nails, which is the story that starts off with Conan and Valeria of the Red Brotherhood fighting off against a dragon and killing it by thrusting a poisoned spear into the base of its jaw. Now, these dragons aren't really like the typical flying fire breathers that you see in things like Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones. Robert E. Howard took a different approach when designing his dragons, or in this case, describing them in his literary work. So today I'm going to be starting off with drawing some silhouettes, and then I'll be doing some different designs of what I think many of the dragons of the Hyborian Age would look like, at least in my vision. So, if you like the video, like and subscribe, and ring the bell to stay updated on more videos. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, like I was saying before, the dragons of Robert E. Howard's Hyborian Age are not like the traditional dragons that we see in the works of J.R.R. Tolkien and George R.R. Martin. No, these dragons are more on the prehistoric side, as Robert E. Howard described dragons in his story Red Nails, of the dragon that Conan and Valeria fight as having a saurian like head with rows of dorsal plates running down its back and its tail adorned with rows of huge spikes. It's kind of like a stegosaurus, but in this case, it was a meat eater, a carnivore. So basically, the way I can best describe dragons of the Hyborian Age are more of a cross between a Stegosaurus and theropod dinosaurs, which I've seen a lot of depictions of in popular media from the old days, from the 60s to the 80s. Like, I saw a lot of them in Hanna-Barbera cartoons like Mitor and things like that. But beside the point, I find the dragons of the Hyborian Age that Robert E. Howard created as very interesting because it kind of introduces dragons in a really different way than what people normally expect dragons to be. They mostly picture them as giant winged creatures from magical worlds that breathe fire. But the way Robert E. Howard created them, he made them to fit into the more prehistoric era, like making them resemble dinosaurs. But though I don't believe that the way he made them was to make them look like they were related to dinosaurs in any way. But then again, I'm not Robert E. Howard himself, so I honestly don't know his philosophy when it comes to dragons and dinosaurs. But with these designs here, I did use a lot of inspiration from the 1960 adaptation of The Lost World because when I compare the dinosaurs from that movie to what I've heard, or I mean read about in Conan Red Nails, they're very similar in features with large spikes on their bodies and quadruped and very carnivorous. So they fit their descriptions are very similar. Hence why I drew these with inspiration from that film. And I think red nails help me view dragons in a completely different way than what I've seen from other pieces of popular media when it comes to fantasy films and literature all my life. And honestly, I think it makes them so much more interesting. And it also kind of fits how the early discovery of dinosaur fossils inspired the myths of dragons in the first place. And honestly, I believe that's kind of where Robert E. Howard got the idea when creating a dragon for red nails. And honestly, that really speaks more into his genius and philosophy when it comes to creating a prehistoric world for the fantasy genre. And this is kind of where I got my idea for blending paleontology and mythology for my own stories, which you'll be seeing a lot of in the future. But until then, these are my drawings for dragons of the Hyborian Age, and I'll be doing more Hyborian Age creatures in the future. But until then, this is Benjamin Michael Tanner from Paleo Art Studios, and I will see you next time.